You're listening to the Generational Wealth Through Commercial Real Estate podcast. Your host, Will Smith, is a former NFL player that found his passion in commercial real estate. Every week, you will learn from industry experts everything you need to know to get started investing in commercial real estate to build generational wealth.
Thank you for tuning in to the Generational Wealth Through Commercial Real Estate show. Got a really special guest lined up for you today, Sanjay Patel. But before we get into that, if this is your first time watching the show, do me a favor and go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify, if I'm adding value to you, please leave me a 5-star review, because these reviews are how I keep bringing on rockstar guests like I have today. Sanjay is the owner and manager of Baron Hospitality. They manage hotels. And he also owns 8 hotels, and they split over 14 of them. So, he's somebody that really can dig deep into the hotel industry and tell you why you should be considering this as an asset class to invest in. Sanjay, how you doing today, man? Tell us a little bit about, who you are and how you got into the hotel industry.
Thank you, Will. Doing good today. How I got in the hotel industry. I was born into it. My parents migrated from India in 1972 over to Canada, and they worked some jobs and then slowly migrated to America. They bought their first mom and pop hotel in Evansville, Indiana.
Yep.
And that's where I was born in 1981, and moved on from there to another mom and pop. And then 1994, my dad built a 42-unit property in Paducah, Kentucky.
Yep.
And acquired another one, and then my brother built one in Oklahoma. And it's just been in my blood. So I spent weekends, when the housekeepers didn't come in, cleaning rooms. I did some maintenance. I worked the front desk,
Yeah.
Just followed the lead of my parents. It was something that I'm passionate about. Always wanted to do. So I guess it is in the blood. And it is for a lot of Indian second generation hoteliers. They grew up within the hospitality industry, just like me.
Yeah. No, that's very interesting, man. So second generation, and the family, family business. Your parents came over and they did it the hard way. They worked their way up, and now it's the second generation, and you guys are kind of taking the reins now and scaling like crazy. So tell us, man, what is it that you typically look for when you're looking for hotel opportunities to invest in?
For me, the main one of the key factors I've been successful in the market is value add.
Yeah.
Seeing a distressed property, mismanaged property, coming in, doing renovations, increasing the revenue, and selling.
Yeah.
Right. I know during this since 2011, 12, a lot of people have been getting into assets, and they realize the profits from the market and the economy getting to where it is now.
Yeah. So that's interesting, man. Like, so from a multifamily perspective, we look at like demographics, household income, the population. So what is it that you guys look for when you're looking at, if I want to buy a particular hotel in this city here?
Well, and it's a wide scale. You have your mom and pop, so to speak, your independent hotels. You have your franchise hotels. The most common is a franchise hotel, but that has a wide range. You have, economy, all the way up to upper mid-scale luxury hotels.
Yeah.
More in the limited service and upper and mid-scale markets.
Yeah.
Comfort Inns. I also own a Motel 6. Just recently bought a Hyatt Place, which is, a little bit at the top end. Um, one of the things that you look at that's kind of similar, we do look at, the demographics, the area demand generators. But for each hotel, it's a little bit different, even within the franchise model. Your high end, let's just say, for example, you're looking for more corporate business.
Hey, give me 1 second. There we go.
Yeah, so it ranges. Let's just say, for example, a high-end hotel, your Marriott, Hilton, you're looking for more corporate business as opposed to a limited service where you'll get more transient customers, maybe off the interstate, your blue-collar workers, somebody may be being displaced out of their apartment complex, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So it's not a set of rules, but for each type of hotel, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. Gotcha. So, most people think, anyway, when I think of hotels, I think of like, the Hiltons and the Marriotts, I think of that type of hotel, but that's not necessarily where the money's being made at when you think about the hotel industry, because like you said, you have the Motel 6s out there that, depending on where it's located at, you can make a lot of money in that one as well, right?
Correct. So, and that hasn't been proven more in any other time than now. During this COVID-19, you are seeing the economy extended stay sector and the economy nightly sector just do wonders. They're maybe 10 to 15% down.
Yeah.
Very minimal.
Yeah.
To your high end, your Hilton Marriotts, some of them are still closed.
Wow.
It's a lot of the impact has been on the upper end, upper echelon hotels like your Hilton Marriotts. The economy sector drives it, and there's multiple reports that are available via Google, even that are showing that how well the economy sector is done.
Yeah.
And for me, and where I come from, Asian hospitality, a lot of us second generation hoteliers started with that mom and pop, that economy sector, and then moved on up. And that's where the money came from.
Yeah. Gotcha. So, with these hotels that are closed right now, they're not making any money, and it looks like this COVID is starting another wave where it may, prolong them having to be shut down. So would you say that there would be a possibility for a play to maybe convert one of these higher end hotels that has to close or sell at a discount, to convert them to more of a I guess economy type place, since that's where your more stabilized money is at? Or would you just kind of rebrand it to another higher end one?
There's certainly that possibility, yes. What we're seeing for in Texas, for example, what's happened due to COVID is these places that normally charge 129, 139, 159 a night are now renting rooms at $69 and $79.
Wow.
So essentially, they're not an economy hotel, but they're charging economy hotel prices and mid-scale prices. And so what that's doing is it's taken away from the economy guests saying, hey, I can get a room at Hampton Inn for $69. Why would I pay $60 at this economy motel? But there is certainly conversion opportunities. One thing that is common with these higher end hotels is the way they're financed, and they're CMBS loans. non-recourse.
Yeah.
I'm sure you that they're having a lot of difficulty right now because they're not getting any help.
Right.
Actually, just got some listings today that some of these companies are just handing over the keys because they just can't feed the property anymore. And so when you get into CMBS loans are very, very detailed. You got to read the fine print on them.
Yeah.
And so you got to be careful when you get into one of those, what kind of flag you can put on it.
Yeah.
And so some opportunities might exist. Maybe even some of these suite hotels can actually be turned into multifamily. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
But it all depends on what you're getting in it for, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, if you do a conversion like that from hotel to multifamily, is the price per door going to be lower than where the market's at, or because you don't want to do that and then you be above the price of if you just built something brand new from the ground up, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
the end of the day, new, right? You can
Yeah.
only renovate so much. What I'm seeing is the most conversions that happen from hotel to multifamily are in the economy sector.
Yeah.
Um, and that's because you're in at a lower price, right?
Right.
Acquisition, and so you can afford to spend the extra money and do the renovations and the conversion.
Right.
It just gets hard when you're in your Hiltons and your Marriotts and your Hyatts to
Yeah.
buy this high price and then go in and try to do the renovation. The cost gets at hand.
Right. Right. Yeah. So for my listeners, man, I want them to have an understanding of, number one, what is the typical price that you see in I guess in the economy, because I'll imagine most people will probably try to start there and be easier for them. The economy type hotel, and what's the typical kind of, I guess, cash on cash return, if there is a typical rate that you try to shoot for when you're buying economy.
Well, and unfortunately, that varies a lot. For example, let's say an independent hotel,
Yeah.
depending on if it's 30 rooms or 100 rooms, your price per key is usually between 30 and 50,000.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of factors that can bring that price down or up.
Right.
Generally, that's what you're looking at, and of course on how it's run. Generally, when there's a management company involved running it, you're looking at higher cost, so less to the bottom line, cash on cash return wise.
Yeah.
If it's, let's say for an example, if it's someone that's just getting into the business, it's a 30 unit property and they're staying on the property, they live on property, and they're handling the desk, and they have a housekeeper that comes in, they have a part-time desk clerk, so your overhead's low.
Yeah.
You can see great returns on that, 50%.
Right.
Of course, there's other factors that play in, as opposed to if a management company's running it, you might see 25 to 35%.
Yeah. 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 So I mean, really though, if you can get 25%, even with a management company in place, yeah, that means you should get your money back within 4 years. So that's not a bad investment. It's not a bad investment at all, man.
It's not. But that's in the economy sector.
Yeah.
It's a bit harder, when you move up in class of hotel.
Yeah.
Just
Gotcha.
because, with independent hotels, you're not bound by the guidelines of the franchise. You don't have, first off, you don't have franchise fees.
Yeah.
You know, you sign a franchise fee. Generally, the contract shows about 10%. Anywhere from 7 to 10%. But the reality is, true cost of ownership gets up to 17%. Because it's not just at the end of the month that you're cutting them a check off the sales.
Yeah.
You're also buying their brand towels, their mandated coffee, you know, the furniture that's in the rooms, the carpet that's in the rooms, So there's a lot of factors that you know, don't go blindly and say, hey, I only have to pay them 10% a month.
Yeah.
That's correct, but you also got to consider all these other things.
Right.
You don't have that in an independent hotel, so your returns are greater.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but the pro of going with a flag, type hotel that's a brand that's known, you get, I guess it's easier to lease them up then, right? Or get them
So,
purchased per night.
it's hard to get financing on an independent asset. Banks, they want to feel the security too. They want to know that, hey, he's signed with, let's say, for example, Choice Hotels.
Right.
They know that Choice Hotels will do the marketing. They know it's a proven brand.
Yeah.
It helps them feel safer about, lending. But
Right.
that's, successful.
Right. Right. No, that's a good point. Um, Now, in the multifamily space, we have stuff like CoStar and Yardi Matrix that kind of gives us the average sales price, average rent. What are you guys using in the hotel industry?
So what my number one tool is a STAR report. It's a STR report, Smith Travel Research. They actually, I think, have the transitions happened. I think CoStar actually bought them.
CoStar Broadal? Oh wow.
I believe so. I don't know if the deal finalized or not, because then COVID happened.
Yeah.
Smith Travel Research, what it does, it tells you what's in the pipeline, what's being built in your market. It's your cheat sheet. For example, if you have a franchise hotel in a market, they're going to have 5 or 6 the nearest hotels that's within your comp set.
Yep.
And each week you'll get a report of what the comp set did as opposed to you. So that's your test at the end of the week, right?
Right.
The market, let's say, for example, did an $80 ADR with a 70% occupancy, and it shows your numbers. So if you need to go up on rate, go down on rate. If you're missing out on occupancy, it tells you where you're missing the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a wonderful report. A lot of information.
Right. Right.
And then, like I said, it tells you what's coming into your market, new build wise. It tells you how many rooms your comp set has. I mean, it's a very, very good report to make sure you stay tuned into.
Yeah, yeah. So, you mean if somebody's looking to purchase a hotel, then they definitely need to get a star report. I spoke to Neil a few weeks ago, and he mentioned, different little metrics that you should be looking at, like occupancy, average rent per. Well, I keep saying rent. What average daily rate? Uh,
ADR, RevPAR is your key. That's what makes you your money. RevPAR, revenue per available room,
right,
and
right.
the that's the holy grail right there.
Yeah,
Tell
yeah.
you if you're money or not.
Gotcha. So, I mean, how do you guys assess the value when you're looking at an opportunity?
Uh, so let me give you an example. I had and I bought an asset unseen, 2 assets actually. I'll give you the example of one. It was a independent hotel. Um, had went to auction, and for some reason, the person that won the bid was uh, didn't put a deposit down on time.
Yeah,
And so I had the opportunity to come in, never seen the asset. It was out of state. It was a 50-unit asset, block construction. So it's a solid building. But it was just mismanaged.
yeah,
It was doing 300,000 roughly in revenue. I acquired it for 5. I looked at the star report and I told the broker, I'll take it.
yeah,
I saw the star report. The business was in the market, and I got online, read the reviews, looked at the pictures. I mean, it needed renovation badly.
right.
And so the easiest part was there. The business was there in that market.
Yeah,
All I had to do was clean up the property and let the guests, get the guests in there. And once they come, they see a new room. And as long as they get good service, they'll be back.
yeah,
And so that's where another reason the STR report's so important. That that's your key factor. You know, I looked at it. The business was in the market, so we went through with the transaction. 3 months later, sold it for $800,000.
Wow. Wow.
Um, those deals were a little bit more available back, about 14, 15. A little bit harder to come by, but
Yeah.
it's still out there. You just got to, right now it's, seller's market. Everybody's getting a high price. Things have kind of calmed down with this COVID, but next 6 months will tell how hot the market really is.
Yeah.
But the last 3 years, I mean, it's before you didn't have to put hard money on contracts. Now you're having to put hard money.
Right.
You put a deposit. It was a minimal deposit, and it was refundable and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's non-refundable from day one, and
So,
the amount's a lot more.
right.
This is because it's a seller's market. People are aggressive. People are buying assets left and right, and I've had one or two get away from me.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's interesting. So, you have a management company, so I mean that kind of gives you an edge over other people. Like say myself, if I was going to go purchase a property, I would have to hire a management company to handle everything for me, as far as the day-to-day operations. But that kind of cut costs for you, right?
Yeah, well, yes, of course, it's an advantage. The experience, right?
Yep.
Uh, and so with my management company, I'm involved in daily operations also. And it does make it easier. There's a lot of management companies out there, and there's ones for every type of hotel.
Yeah.
Ones that wouldn't be suitable for an independent, but would be suitable for a high-end asset. So that's something that you would also want to do your homework on before acquiring.
Well, let's talk about that for a moment, man. Because I mean, like I said, there's not many people who listen to this show that has hotel experience, and they're going to have to choose a management company. What are some of the things we should be asking these management companies to make sure that they're actually, um, know what they're doing and they're not going to screw us over?
Yes. So the best way is to talk to their current clients. If there's a management company in your area, one thing I like, and this is a personal thing for me, that I would want a management company that's somewhat close by.
Yeah.
If you're buying an asset in North Carolina, I don't think a management company in California would be the best fit.
Right. Right. Right.
And it doesn't mean they won't be more successful than a local company by any means. But for me, I like someone that, hey, if there's any issues that I see at the property, I can go to that management company, to their corporate office, and sit down and have a meeting.
Yeah.
And it also helps in the sense for them to hire people and make sure they're doing their job a little bit better.
Yeah.
The example I gave of being in California and managing an asset in North Carolina, at the end of the day, it's just a phone call that they're saying, yeah, this is done, but is it actually done? Right?
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I look at. But one thing that is very important, I would talk to people that who they currently manage for. Talk to them.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you. I would talk to at least 2 or 3 people and say, hey, you've engaged this company to manage your asset. How have they been?
Right. Right.
At the end of the day, it's word of mouth too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the management company, are they the ones that's responsible for hiring a GM to run the location for you, or are you doing that and the management company is overseeing them? And how does that typically work?
So there's different ways that management companies can do a contract with an owner.
Yeah.
Generally, most all of them will. The management company takes care of the management, hiring the GM, and all the way down to the line level employees.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. So, with so many employment issues nowadays, and it's hard to find good people, you want that ease of mind too. If you're going to hire a management company, it's better that you let them hire their GM. That way, if there's any issues, they implement their system through their GM.
Yeah.
If they have an owner coming in and say, no, I want it done this way, now that GM's stuck in a hard spot. Should I listen to the owner or should
Right.
management company?
Yeah.
Management company hire me,
Right.
this guy, but he won't be able to hire me because it's a management company.
Right.
So, you got to find a good management company that it takes time.
Yeah.
Implement their system on the property
Yeah.
to get it. Most times it's accessible.
Right. And there's organizations that's out there that kind of have, kind of one-stop shop, right, for everything
Build.
hotel. What's the name of the organization again?
Oh, for AHOA.
Yeah, AHOA. Yeah, that's right.
Asian American Hotel Owner Association.
Yeah. So I imagine, if you're looking for a hotel, management company, that's going to be a great place to, number one, either find one or ask for recommendations, because everybody there is, they're making moves in this industry.
Yes. AHOA, with close to 20,000 members now, all kinds of resources, anything from your credit card merchant processor to building a hotel to management companies, like you said.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, if you're invested into the industry, you need to keep your ear to the ground and know what's going on within the industry also.
Right.
And that's AHOA does a great job of, keeping its members notified what's going on.
Yeah.
Or whichever way it is.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Now, for the guy that's listening or the girl that's listening that's, thinking about coming at this from a passive investor standpoint, what are some tips that you can give them as far as trying to vet an operator that's trying to bring a deal to them?
Well, that also goes back to, let's say if there's an investor that's bringing you a deal, you want to know what other deals that they've done.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'd like to talk to people that have invested with that company before.
Right.
Or that, and see what their feedback is. Right now, honestly, my advice would be sit back and watch.
Yeah.
Give it at least 6 more months. Do your homework. Start doing your homework now. See what's going on in the market. Stay tuned. See what's going on within the economy. Typically election years, they're conservative as it is.
Yeah.
But with COVID, it's brought the world's economy to its knees at one point. Right now wouldn't be the best time to get into something that you'd be doing for the first time.
Yeah.
I think if you wait 6 months to see what's going to happen, that will give you a better assessment of what you need to do and where you need to do it.
Right. No, I think that's wise advice. And I would say that's for, any kind of asset you're looking at right now, because you just don't know how COVID is going to affect everything. Some stuff is getting hit hard now, like retail, but you just don't know how this is going to play out in the industries, and you don't want to be buying at the top of the market and catching a falling knife. It's better to be patient. Don't ever get in a situation where you're like, oh, I gotta buy. I don't want to miss out on this deal, because there's always going to be another deal.
Yes, there's always going to be one. Trust me.
Right.
And one of the things, what happens is, let's say you're looking at a mid-scale asset for a certain price point, and 6 months from now, you know, things are still slow, but they're starting to pick up. You might look out and get something within your budget that's a little bit nicer that you wouldn't think you could afford 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Those opportunities are happening right now in Texas. I mean, there's short sales going on.
Yeah.
So there's people getting good deals now. We won't know how good of a deal they got until probably at least another year.
Right. Right. Right.
You know, but from the past 6-7 months, they've got a better deal than that right now.
Yeah. 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 For sure.
So, and what's scary is it's all the unknowns at this point, right?
Yeah.
You got the retail industry that was already being hard hit by your Amazons and
Yep.
things like that. And then this happens
Right.
and when everybody's out and shopping, and it's folded some of these retailers.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. Terrible. You know, it's just the way it goes.
If you learned anything from this, any asset that you do end up getting into, make sure you have that rainy day fund.
Absolutely.
No.
That's the truth, man.
I've talked to a lot of hoteliers. Hey man, I'm tight for cash. I mean, my assets were doing good, so I didn't think I needed that much in my rainy day fund, and I took that rainy day fund and invested in another asset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you got to make sure you stick to the basics. Always keep that rainy day fund.
Right. Right. No, I mean it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because no one thought that what February, March that the economy would just essentially turn off for a month, and then slowly start getting better.
Right.
So,
absolutely, man.
in the weight crisis, it was the hotel industry was doing about 50%.
Right. Right.
At the end of the day, they could keep the doors open.
Yeah. Yeah.
They weren't making. They were keeping the doors open. This was just like they turned off the economy like in April. It just hotels just had to close the doors. They couldn't even afford to keep the lights on.
Yeah. 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 But like you said, man, for experienced operators, there's going to be some opportunities there within the next 6 months, and the ones that they just now learned about this, they should probably just keep learning, and when the time is right, the deal will be there for you. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and segue to the next segment of the show, a deal deep dive. Let's talk about a deal that you flipped. Where did you purchase it at? As far as price, what was the value add you seen on it, the kind of debt, and how you exited?
So I had a deal in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yep.
We had sold everything from the '08 crisis, and I was waiting for the economy to kind of plateau, hit bottom, and then start inching up. And I saw that in 2011, and so I purchased a deal in 2012, and it was a 150 unit asset. It was doing roughly 900,000. I acquired it for 1.6 million.
Yeah.
Which is a very ran it for 3 years. We renovated it, got the revenue up, and ended up selling it for I think 3.25.
Nice.
Had an offer for I think two or $300,000 more, but decided to go with another buyer. But within that, buying that asset, of course, STR Report, the business was there. There's a good location right off the interstate.
Yeah.
High barrier to entry, substantially less in replacement cost.
Yeah.
Price per key was cheap, close to almost 10,000 almost, which is unheard of.
Right.
And even at the number it was doing, yes, I would have to be working the front desk and doing some of the duties, but I would make money. And so what I looked at was worst case scenario at this revenue, can I survive and make a little bit at the end of the day? because this is the darkest day that we'll see. And I saw that I could. And so only way up from there was up.
Right. Right. No, that's and what kind of debt did you put on it?
That was a SBA 504.
Okay.
This much paperwork. At one point, my father became frustrated with so much paperwork. He said, "You know what? If we need to just put the cash in, because SBA 504 is roughly 40% of your total loan."
Yeah.
He said, "Instead of signing those papers, just pay that part cash and just let the bank handle it and do it conventionally." But we didn't end up doing it. He just, it's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
Your more common hotel loans through the SBA are 7A now.
Yeah.
But there's other programs like USDA 504, and of course conventional loans, and then your CMBS, which are non-recourse.
Right. Right.
Generally, those non-recourse CMBS loans are on your higher end assets.
Yeah.
And your SBA loans are your economy brand, exterior corridor. They're more common in those now. One thing that the banking industry learned from the '08 crisis was they were doing a lot of conventional loans. Excuse me. And so, they got burned during the '08 crisis because, they had to foreclose on so many properties.
Yeah.
So coming out of it, banks said, "Hey, why are we taking 100% of this risk? Let's dump it into an SBA loan. SBA will guarantee 75% of that loan, and we'll take 20% from the borrower. We're only hung out there for 5%." And the banking more loans because the credit line opens up that much more.
Gotcha. No, I mean that's the way to go, man. If you can, number one, it comes down to having those banking relationships. Having the lenders that have the contacts. The brokers. That stuff is important because that plays a big role in how your deal gets financed and your terms. That can either make or break a deal.
So I make sure I have good relations with my bankers. Times like this too. It's just a phone call. I mean, I've called bankers on Sundays at 8:30 at night. Say, "Hey man, I just heard about this deal. I want to get moving on it quick."
Right.
And they'll pick up and answer, and they'll get working on it on Monday morning.
Yeah.
And look, at the end of the day, you're invested with them.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you keep an open relationship and an open dialogue with them. That way, things like this COVID situation happen, they're more likely to help you out.
Yeah.
Because they know what's going on with you and the property.
Absolutely. For sure. All right, man, let's segue to the last segment of the show, just to lighten around 5 quick questions for you. All right.
Sure.
What's the best advice you ever been given?
Work hard. Nothing's going to be given to you.
Absolutely. What's the best book you ever read?
Who Moved My Cheese?
Yeah, that's a great book, especially at times like right now. That's a great book. Yeah. Number 3, what are some rituals you're doing right now that's making you a better investor or person in general?
We'll stick on the business side. Investor wise is, re-examining where you can save a buck. You could fat off, so to speak. When the economy, when your business is ways because things are going good. Times like this, you look at where can I save that extra, $2,000 a month, and all that adds up.
Yeah, absolutely. And this probably goes with the last answer, but what is the one thing you're doing right now to help you improve your business?
Yes, and honestly, I think if you ask 100 hotel or even multifamily owners, they'll probably give you the same answer. Hey, they're seeing where they can save money,
Right.
And of course, one thing that we're doing a little bit differently right now is these safety precautions, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of falls on local jurisdictions, but where we're at, it's mandated that in public places that you have to have a face mask. So that's something new that we're having to do right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the biggest thing right now is that bottom line, right?
Right.
Save money.
Absolutely. All right, last question. If you can give your younger self one tip in regards to investing, what would that be?
That's a good question. Do it. Sometimes you overthink things.
Yeah.
You might miss an opportunity. Hindsight's 2020.
Right.
It is important to do your homework. Yes. But sometimes, you can do all the homework in the world and still fail.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you keep it simple and just get your feet wet, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, hey man, I appreciate you coming on the show today. You added a ton of value to the listeners. How can my listeners reach out to you to get in touch with you?
You can email me, Sanjay at baronhospitality.com. SANJAY at Baron, BARON, hospitality.com.
Fantastic, man. I appreciate you coming on the show today.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Generational Wealth Through Commercial Real Estate podcast, brought to you by Onyx Capital Investments. Onyx Capital Investments works with investors nationwide to invest in income-producing real estate in emerging markets. Connect online at www.onyxcapitalinvestments.com to learn more about what we're doing. If we have added value to your life, please leave us a review.